This is the CHRILLCAST. I'm Chris.
And Will.
Back from Jamaica.
They have no idea you went, Chris.
I
We
know.
didn't miss a week.
So, lots happened, and we're not doing Synopsis Sunday. So, what's today, Will?
Today is Manic Monday.
And according to Will, I have no new tan, but if you watch the last video, I look like a ghost. Now I look like...
Still like newborn baby's butt cheek.
And the beard's back. No. Anyways, so we hit our 100 subscriber goal. So we didn't announce it last week, even though we hit it last week, because those were pre-recorded for while I was in Jamaica. And I didn't tell you guys because I don't want anybody breaking into my house. But
yes. Good plan.
But anyways, we're really excited to be back at 100 subscribers. You know, pretty cool day for us. Probably need to... Oh no, we don't need to do anything with the About tab. I was going to say we could put our first goal met, but we didn't even have it in there in the first place.
Nope. So. We have no goals, Chris.
Look forward to on Wednesday. We'll be hosting a pretty prominent YouTuber. Will,
very good.
Tell everybody
very
who it is.
Very exciting stuff. Oh, it's Halo Cannon.
Yeah. So he'll be here on Wednesday. And then, let me think. What was I going to say? Minor news, they're re-releasing Bayonetta on Xbox One and PS4. That's coming out soon. Yep, the original.
That's actually I think very exciting.
2 and 3 are owned by Nintendo partially, so they won't be doing that. But 1 is getting a re-release for Xbox One and PS4. Just found that out today.
Very cool.
And I'm trying to think if there's anything else small that we wanted to mention. Anything you can think of?
Nope.
Nope, okay. With that being said, what is the subject today, Will?
Today is partially about the fact that they are going to re-release Anthem as Anthem 2.0, and more about just games as a service in general and the industry moving forward.
So, yeah. With that being said, our first discussion point was... are we even willing to check out a substantial overhaul of Anthem?
Yeah, I would say I'm willing to check it out. Am I going to buy it? Probably not. But if it ends up being what I want it to be, which is essentially Iron Man fighting monsters, then yeah.
You know,
I didn't buy it to begin with, so it's not like I've already bought it and I'll have to buy it again.
That's fair. I mean, I never bought it either. I did play it. I wasn't a huge fan of it, to be honest with you. But redesigns do work. Look at the Sonic movie. It's got a 95 on Metacritic from users, not from critics. I don't know what the critic score is, but I saw that Sega was touting the fact they had a 95 out of critic or
audience score.
Audience score. That was pretty cool. So the redesign of Sonic definitely was rewarded with audience participation and loving it. On top of that, I don't think I'd pay $60 again though if I already paid $60 in the first place.
No. Well, do you think they're going to make people pay it again, or is this going to be a free update?
They should reward the people that bought it in the first place, but this is EA, or I'm sorry, Activision we're talking about, right? No, this is EA. It is EA.
It's EA, yeah.
Destiny.
Either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're not. Neither of those companies are really doing any favors for their audience. What I will say is, I think the fact that they're still committed to Anthem at this point is a sure sign that the game plan didn't work in the first place, but they haven't given up.
Yeah, well, they also made a bunch of money off this, so everyone thinks that this game didn't sell very well.
But it did.
But it's one of the best-selling games of that year.
Yeah, best-selling, but it has a low...
yeah,
low,
well, they got their money up front, so...
But it wasn't meant to be a money up front type of game. It was meant to be a long-lasting service-type game, which is not what it is.
Yep.
It was people bought it because BioWare's name and what it looked like, which was Iron Man in space, and they didn't get the experience they wanted. And I'd say a lot of it was due to the use of the Frostbite engine, and I'm not sure how you can fix the engine.
Yeah, well, it's engine and studio mismanagement. So there's been a whole expose about how BioWare shares a lot of the blame for this, for being basically inept at making this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
But, you know, EA is the publisher. They should have been like, this game is not done. Let's not release it. Give it to a different studio or tell them to get the crap together, and they have until September or something.
And this wasn't even meant to be called Anthem originally. Did you know that?
No.
It had a completely different name, and I think it was because somebody owned the name they wanted to use. I'm trying to remember, because they had a completely different name that made more sense. Let's see if I can remember. What was Anthem's?
Well, Anthem is the name of whatever that planet-making device is in the game.
That's not what it was going to be called, though. Beyond. That's what it was going to be called. It's going to be called Beyond, which made way more sense for what it is. Anthem, to me, it feels like you're in a race, and there's nothing about this game that's racing.
Yeah, or a music.
Or music.
Game. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was going to be called Beyond, and that was because...
Beyond terrible. Yeah.
So
I'm here all week.
can they make money off this IP at this point in time?
It's EA. They print money, so I'm sure that they've figured this out. They know that people are going to buy back into this, even if they only give back like 25% of the player base. I mean, those 25% of people are going to be the ones that are buying the microtransactions anyway. So, I'm just curious how they're going to monetize this. Really.
I mean, I guess this game isn't really multiplayer dependent, though, is it?
Kind of is.
Kind of. Because it's a loot shooter, though. Like, I mean, you want people to play with you, but you don't have. You could play this solo if you really wanted to.
Mm-hmm. What they should do is bring in couch co-op. They should make it free.
Well, then they can't have multiple people buying the game to play together.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they launch it as a free game, which is what they're trying to market it as anyway, with lots of microtransactions, it might actually do better.
Yeah. Put it on games with gold instead of on EA Access or Origin Access, whatever the heck the game.
Yeah, put it in Game Pass and then PS Now. That would be an amazing idea.
Yeah, that way everybody who's already paying a subscription can get into it. Because the thing they don't tell you with like PS Now and Game Pass is normally you don't get any of the expansions or DLC or anything like that.
That's true.
So
it depends on the game, but yeah.
For the most part, you're true. For the most part, you're still gonna pay for things if you play these games. Like, it's a good way to try these games on Game Pass or PS Now. But like we just talked about, you can still buy stuff, and the developer and publisher can still make money.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, with the first-party games that are coming to Game Pass, I mean, unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, because a lot of people aren't going to buy those games anymore, and they're just buying the service, the $10 a month service, they're putting a lot more microtransactions into those games. So like Gears 5 had a ton of microtransactions. But
I don't know if that was why, though. That's just
I think it is because now they have to make money somehow. So that's one way to make it up. And then Sea of Thieves launched without microtransactions and now has some. It has nothing to do with progression, so it's not invasive. But
Sea of Thieves was always designed for that, though. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Appearance and like acquisition of items that aren't really useful in the game but give you a different appearance. That's the type of game it's designed for, like a different colored ship or a different style ship or a different sail.
It did go multiple years without microtransactions though, so you got to give it to Rare for not putting it in there to begin with, and also launching the game, which when it first launched was bland as all get out. There was not much in it, but I guess that's an example of a game that came back though, because it launched really strongly. It had a player base kind of fell away, and they kept making it better. And at this point, it really is a different game. It has a single-player campaign. There's an arena mode where you actually fight against other players, and then you have the adventure mode, which was always there. So I'm curious what Anthem's going to do, but it was launched so broken. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to get that taste out of their mouth to pick this game back up.
If it went free to play, I'd probably try it again.
Yeah, free to play.
I think you got to
could have a No Man's Sky situation.
No Man's Sky is not free to play, is it?
No, but it essentially came out with the 2.0, the Beyond. I think it was called. No, it's called Next.
Yeah, it's Next. I've heard good things about that version of the game.
Yeah, it's completely different. It's a lot better. That's the one I own.
I mean, if they're successful at relaunching this game, I mean, what other is this going to have a huge lasting impact on the industry, or do we think that there's a chance other games that failed initially will come back?
I think this is going to have a huge negative impact. The thing is, you can take this as a good story that EA is actually trying, or you can take it as what EA is probably taking it as. We can launch a game in any state. You're going to pay $60 to beta tester or alpha test it for us, and then we're going to relaunch it $60 again.
If they do that,
people are going to pay it. Yeah, or whatever. It's just the fact that they can get people to pay $60 for an alpha test, relaunch it later with microtransactions, and reap all the money and extra money.
So wait, what's your opinion of Atlas doing that with all of their games?
It's a garbage practice.
Because they're re-releasing Persona 5 now at $60 with added campaign elements.
That's a little different. That's like added. That's still weird though. I don't like that they do that because, but it's more of like a definitive edition, so you can like not necessarily buy the definitive edition. This is where you're launching a game where it's broken to begin with. There's like
none of Atlas's games have ever been broken on release.
You're getting a full game, and then you get the added extra content if you buy it later.
Not even their game on the Virtual Boy was broken. It was one of the best games on the Virtual Boy. It's called Jack Bros.
I had no idea they had one on the Virtual Boy.
It's not Persona. It's not Persona.
Okay. I was going to say I had no idea. But yeah, I'm worried what precedent this is setting if it does well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of a different game that anybody's done this with.
Normally, the game will launch and it's just...
Well, it fails and it's done.
It's failed and it's done, or it launches in a not complete state but not broken. So, like, Sea of Thieves wasn't broken. It was a fine game, but there wasn't much to it.
Well, how about
No Man's Sky wasn't broken, but there wasn't much to it.
Do you know what I'm talking about? What is it? Ark Survival Evolved or something like that?
Yeah.
That game has launched on many platforms and it's never worked right.
No, but it's sort of like the style of game. Is it free to play?
No.
No? Okay.
I think that's when they launched it on the Switch. They launched it on the Switch somehow, and it doesn't work. Like it didn't work on the Xbox One and PS4, so they didn't do much, and they launched it on the Switch. And I was like, it's not going to work there either.
Well, that company does it a lot. So they released a pirate simulator game too, and it's completely terrible and broken.
Okay, all right. Well, that's just that company, I guess.
Yeah.
Trying to think, I can't think of another company that's managed to do this successfully.
I mean, there are some PC games where you buy the early access or whatever, and then they never get out of it.
This isn't a AAA. This is a AAA developer. You don't expect that.
With a full release, and then you're paying for it. It's clearly not a finished game. It's completely broken.
Right.
And then they're going to re-release it. So, no, I think this might be the first one. Which again, I'm worried about the precedent. I'm happy that they're fixing it for the people who like the game and were let down, but I'm worried about what they're going to do with monetization and also what this means for games going forward.
Yeah, because even like the Tomb Raider, when they moved from 360 and PS3 to Xbox One and PS4, it was Definitive Edition and it was upgraded. That was through Square Enix, which has yet to do what EA is trying to do.
Yeah.
Which is
I'm okay with the Definitive Editions because if you end up waiting, then you end up getting the game that has all the DLC. So. Which is how I got Destiny. That's how I got Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
But this, again, it's not... Tomb Raider launched as the full game. So if you got the 360 version, you're fine. Like, you got the whole game. And then you can get added content with the Definitive Edition. But
I mean, that's correct, yeah.
Yeah. Anthem just sucked. It has continued to suck. Yeah.
I really cannot think of a game... Oh, what about... Lord of the Rings, what is it? Shadow of War. They reinvented themselves.
Yeah, well, they cut out a whole bunch of content, and Battlefront. That's kind of an example. I mean, it's EA again, where they completely overhauled the progression system.
But that
Shadow of War did the same thing.
I guess they never re-released the game though. Like
no.
if they re-release Anthem. I don't know. I mean, because you're essentially negating all the original people who purchased the game. Yeah. I don't like this. This is a sour taste. Like, just by the concept of it and just by my pure feelings of this, I won't buy it. I just won't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I can't do it in good conscience.
They're also, I mean, they didn't do any of the roadmap, which we can understand why now, because they're probably thinking about doing this. But also, they're pulling away resources now that they had already dedicated to the next Dragon Age, so that's probably going to suffer. And I'm pretty certain that they announced Mass Effect. That's going to not have the resources now because they're relaunching this game.
Yeah, but the question is, why sink more money into this franchise? You have
It's because
pre-existing.
they can convince they're convinced that if they relaunch it in a better state, they're going to make more money off of microtransactions.
But they're not.
I mean, did you
if
see
Microsoft,
the earnings that they got? They've made billions just for the last quarter alone off microtransactions.
Well, yeah, but I honestly feel the industry is going to take a backward swing against microtransactions over the next 2 years. It may come back, but right now I have a feeling microtransactions are on the way out for a little bit, just so that people start buying games again. They don't want to cause another video game crash. Because if it crashes, AAA is where it's going to suffer. Indie games will probably never suffer from this.
Yeah. The thing is with the microtransactions, they need a fraction of the player base to actually buy these games, and they'll keep making money.
I don't know, because I went and bought specific games that didn't have microtransactions in them from AAA developers.
Mm-hmm. But you are the one, they're not worried about you anymore. They're worried about those whales that will not only buy the $60 game, but also spend thousands of dollars on microtransactions. And that's only like 10% of the player base. But they make all the money off those people.
I'm still waiting for when they re-release Knights of the Republic, and they put in 99 cents per lightsaber color.
Chris is going to have a rage quit moment.
No, I'm just not going to buy it. There will be no quitting. I won't have to.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have the Bob Marley lightsaber. It'll have 3 different colors.
Yes.
All right. So just to finish off this conversation, do we think that this will continue to trickle into AAA games going forward, especially when things like Game Pass exists? And I think we kind of delved into this a little bit, but
yeah, getting back to the Game Pass with Sea of Thieves, again, you said it was essentially designed for that. It really was launched unfinished, although it was like not a broken game, and then they've added stuff in since. I'm worried about other first-party games, on that service, like Halo Infinite. That's going to be a live service game, and it's going to launch unfinished, and they're just going to add to it. Now, I hope it's not launched broken like Anthem, but we're seeing more and more games now that they know that they can launch it without it being complete, and they can have another couple years of development after they've already gotten their money back from the initial investment. So it worries me a lot.
And then the next question is, what is the ESRB going to do about this? Like, this is very, in a normal monetary sense, as far as like a marketplace goes, this is basically like gouging your consumer base. You're like,
they don't care. It's all the same people.
Right. So the question is, should the ESRB be a third party as opposed to made up of people from the companies that support ESRB, right? So they have a vested interest in keeping these companies alive right now, because all of the money comes from essentially the developers and the publishers, right? So I guess maybe the ESRB should be sustained by, like, I hate to say this, a video game tax. I don't know, like maybe every sale from a video game would partially go to ESRB to maintain these types of things, or maybe you impose fines on these companies for changing games.
Yeah, I think a fine makes sense.
And I posed this question when we talked about ESRB last week, and I even tagged the ESRB on Twitter when I posted the video.
Yeah.
So hopefully they watched our video, but they probably didn't.
Yeah, they probably won't respond for months like they do to everybody else.
My favorite comment on that video, though, is, everybody send in your VHS tapes.
Yeah. That was a good one.
I don't know how you prevent this except by not buying these games.
The thing is, we might be able to get people to not buy Anthem or a game like that, but they are sustained by the sports games. And for whatever reason, people who buy sports games every year don't care. So they continuously buy those games. They continuously pay for the modes and players and uniforms that they've had for free in previous iterations, and they happily just dish out money for it. So
and
as long as
playing Madden 08.
Yeah, as long as they have that player base, they don't need really anyone else, because Call of Duty is always going to do pretty well, especially now it's on mobile, and the people playing sports games. That's all they need. Every other game can fail, and they'll still make.
So
billions.
here's where I'm at. Then fine. Then other companies will fill in the gaps that these companies are not filling. Right? A first-person shooter that's not Call of Duty will always exist. I don't know if it'll be Battlefield or if it'll be Battlefront or if it'll be, Medal of Honor. One of these other companies is going to make a better shooter, and people like you and I will play those games instead. The mass appeal of the mainstream audience will probably still go to sports games made by EA Sports or 2K or Call of Duty, and they can make their money off those people, but other developers will fill in the gaps. That's where indie companies come in, and they build up and they become big companies.
Maybe we'll have a comeback of the AA.
Maybe.
Publisher.
I think we're on our way there with Need for Speed Heat doing well, and you might get companies like EA and Activision hiring AA companies to make these games, because you can make a $40 game. It doesn't have to be the prettiest game ever, and it can still be fun. So that's my feeling on it. I think a lot of these, I think AA publishers are coming back in indie games as they get bigger. You're getting more AA companies, and then you got Microsoft quadruple A.
Yeah, well, I'm curious what that's going to be. But going back to Microsoft and the Game Pass model, I mean, that's going to remove a barrier for AA publishers, because they can just put the game on Game Pass.
Make their money on the Game Pass.
I have no idea how that works, but a lot of indies are doing it now, so it might be good for them.
Or you got a company the company that made Cuphead. Microsoft is now fully helping to publish games made by indie games, which, in my opinion, fill the AA gap.
Yep. Also, Ori and the Blind Forest is another one.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't wish for the success of Anthem 2.0. I guess that's my final conclusion.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm torn on it because I don't want to root against it, because, I mean, ultimately that means people's jobs will be lost, and I don't want that. Other than maybe the CEOs, because they're sucking. But yeah, I'm just worried that if it does do really well, that it's going to make EA and Activision even worse in their practices that they're already doing. It's going to embolden them to just whatever they have in the moment, they're going to crap it out and then fix it later.
Yeah. Well, that's all I've got.
Me too.
As always, I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And if we hit 1,000 subscribers at some point, I'm going to be singing Maya He on this channel. Maybe I'll give you guys
Please, I want to see it.
Will's going to have to cover some parts of the song now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm totally fine with it. I'll do the deep voice.
And we will see you
on the next CHRILLCAST.